A thread by Stu Swerk on gaslighting. Gaslighting is defined as manipulating someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. The left and their media sycophants have been gaslighting America for the past 3 years. There are other actions that dovetail with gaslighting that they have pushed too, including misdirection, disinformation, and outright lying. And it's gotten worse as they failed to rid themselves of their nemesis, President Donald Trump. This is the case even in the face of incontrovertible facts. The left, the dementiacrats, and others are growing increasingly desperate in their blatant attempts to manipulate, gaslight, voters in advance of the 3 November election. Recently, a pal sent me some good commentary that describes gaslighting and how Americans are continually being gaslighted on a host of subjects. I don't know the original source of the commentary, but I agree with it completely. I suspect it will resonate with you too. Commentary begins. Have you ever asked yourself, am I crazy or just dumb? If you've ever asked yourself that, you are not either. You're most likely being gaslighted. Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse aimed at controlling a person by altering reality to the point where the person will doubt their own sanity. The term gaslighting comes from a 1930s play called Gaslight. The main character in the play literally tries to drive his wife crazy by gradually dimming the gas-powered lights in their home. When she notices the lights dimming, her husband not only denies that the lights are dimming, he convinces her that she is imagining it to the point where she questions her own sanity. We are living in a perpetual state of gaslighting. The reality that we are being told by the media is at complete odds with what we are seeing with our own two eyes. And when we question the false reality that we are being presented, or we claim that what we see is the actual reality, we are vilified as racist or bigots or just plain crazy. You are not racist. You are not crazy. You are being gaslighted. New York State has twice as many deaths from COVID-19 than any other state, and New York has accounted for 1/5 of all COVID-19 deaths. But we are told that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has handled the pandemic better than any other governor. But if we support policies of governors whose states had only a fraction of the infections and deaths as New York, we're called anti-science and want people to die. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No, you're being gaslighted. We see mobs of people looting stores, smashing windows, setting cars on fire, and burning down buildings, but we are told that these demonstrations are peaceful protests. And when we call this destruction of our cities riots, we are called racists. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No, you're being gaslighted. We see the major problem destroying many inner cities is crime, murder, gang violence, drug dealing, drive-by shootings, armed robbery. But we are told that it is not crime, but the police that are the problem in the inner cities. We are told that we must defund the police and remove law enforcement from crime-riddled cities to make them safer. But if we advocate for more policing in cities overrun by crime, we are accused of being white supremacists and racists. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No. You're being gaslighted. The United States of America accepts more immigrants than any other country in the world. The vast majority of the immigrants are people of color. And these immigrants are enjoying freedom and economic opportunity not available to them in their countries of origin. But we are told that the United States is the most racist and oppressive country on the planet, and if we disagree, we are called racist and xenophobic. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No, you're being gaslighted. Capitalist countries are the most prosperous countries in the world. The standard of living is the highest in capitalist countries. We see more poor people move up the economic ladder to the middle and even the wealthy class through their effort and ability in capitalist countries more than any other economic system in the world. But we are told capitalism is an oppressive system designed to keep people down. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No, you're being gaslighted. Communist countries killed over 100 million people in the 20th century. Communist countries strip their citizens of basic human rights, dictate every aspect of their lives, treat their citizens like slaves, and drive their economies into the ground. But we are told that communism is the fairest, most equitable, freest, and most prosperous economic system in the world. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No. You're being gaslighted. The most egregious example of gaslighting is the concept of white fragility. You spend your life trying to be a good person, trying to treat people fairly and with respect. You disavow racism and bigotry in all its forms. You judge people solely on the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. You don't discriminate based on race or ethnicity, but you are told you are a racist, not because of something you did or said, but solely because of the color of your skin. You know instinctively that charging someone with racism because of their skin color is itself racist. You know that you are not racist, so you defend yourself and your character, but you are told that your defense of yourself is proof of your racism. So we ask ourselves, am I crazy? No, you are being gaslighted. Gaslighting has become one of the most pervasive and destructive tactics in American politics. It is the exact opposite of what our political system was meant to be. It deals in lies and psychological coercion, and not the truth and intellectual discourse. If you ever ask yourself if you're crazy, you are not. Crazy people aren't sane enough to ask themselves if they're crazy. So, trust yourself, believe what's in your heart, trust your eyes over what you are told. Never listen to the people who tell you that you are crazy, because you are not. You are being gaslighted. End commentary. The entire Dementiacrat convention was nothing but gaslighting, an anti-Trump hate fest aimed at convincing Americans that jumping on the Dementiacrat left-wing bandwagon is the only sane thing to do. Not one condemnation of the violent rioting and chaos in the streets. I don't know about you, but leftists on Twitter try to gaslight me all the time. The only way to combat their BS is to stay informed and be aware of all the facts. They run out of arguments quickly when confronted with the facts. Another watchword by which to live is trust but verify. This applies to consumption of information from all sorts of sources, but especially the legacy media and leftist-oriented social media presences, because the SOBs lie, and many are even paid to do so. The Dementiacrats and their lickspittle media are going to be gaslighting us nonstop over the next 68 days, because that's all that they've got. Don't fall for their BS.